Las Vegas Raiders decided to bench starting quarterback Derek Carr in favor of fourth-year quarterback Jarrett Stidham. Stidham made his first start Week 17 against arguably the best defense in football with the San Francisco 49ers. He went 23 for 34 for 365 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions while adding 34 yards on the ground. The Stidham-led Raiders pushed the 49ers to overtime before ultimately losing the game. On the first play, there's going to be a play-action dive run. Tight end Darren Waller is going to run a bluff on the safety Haufunga, where he's going to fake a block and then burst past him in a race for the corner of the end zone. Stidham sees this, squares his shoulders to the line of scrimmage, and delivers a nice ball over the top with some air under it so Haufunga can't make a play. Stidham leads Waller well here and doesn't need to break stride to make this walk-in reception for a touchdown. On the next play, there's going to be a fake handoff on the jet motion coming across the formation. When Stidham fakes his handoff, I'm going to highlight the linebackers and their movement that it causes. On the back end, we're going to have a too-high look from the safeties, which means the middle of the field should be open. Luckily for Stidham, he has one of the best receivers in the game, Davante Adams, running this deep in route between the two high safeties. When I let this play here, as we can see, the jet motion action attracted the linebackers towards the line of scrimmage to play the run, while simultaneously these safeties are dropping to get depth in their cover 2 look. What this does is it opens up a crater of a zone, boxed in red right here in the middle of the field. Stidham identifies this and gets the ball out to Adams, wide open over the middle for a huge gain. On the next 2 plays, I want to show some of Stidham's athleticism. He is not an elite athlete by any means. However, he showed on a few runs in this game that he can scramble for first downs on short and intermediate down and distances. On this play, you can see as he gets to the back of his drop, there's nowhere to go with this ball. Additionally, this outside pass rusher has gotten too vertical in his rush. Stidham sees this wide open running lane open right in front of his face, and he takes this opportunity to pick up 10 yards on the ground for a first down. On the next play, we're going to have a man on the outside. At the snap, the defensive back is going to drop for depth, and the receiver is going to run a little hitch route. Stidham is quick to process this and gets the ball out to the outside for a small gain with some anticipation. What I liked about this play is how quick Stidham was to process what was happening and how quickly he was able to get the ball out of his hands. From the end zone angle, you'll see just how quickly he's able to set his feet and push this ball to the outside for that small gain. On this next play, we're going to have a missed opportunity for Stidham. On the snap, the 49ers are going to get pressure almost immediately with a 4-man rush. Stidham climbs the pocket and keeps his eyes up looking for his outlet, Josh Jacobs. However, if we watch Davante Adams, he's actually going to straight up cook this safety. Stidham does well to keep his eyes upfield, but he gets tunnel vision here. He actually separates his arm at one point to start his throwing motion, but pulls it back down and rushes for a couple yards. If he could have seen Adams in the back of the end zone behind Jacobs and thrown this ball with a little bit of anticipation, this was 6 points. On the next play, Stidham is going to find Davante Adams for a touchdown to make up for that last play. Adams is going to simply run a fade route here in the end zone. Stidham sees he's got his number 1 receiver, Adams, one-on-one on the outside, and just puts this ball up in the air for his receiver to go make a play. The placement on this throw is absolutely phenomenal. As you can see, he puts it just out of the outreached arms of the defender and up in a way where Adams can go up and make an incredible catch and get both feet in bounds for the touchdown. This was an outstanding play by both Stidham and Adams, and what makes this even more impressive is considering how little of time these two have worked together since Stidham hadn't taken first-team reps until just this last week. On the next play, I want to focus on this whip route by Davante Adams. At the back of Stidham's drop, he has nowhere to go with the ball. Stidham sees the rushing lane develop right in front of him, and he rolls to the left. Stidham rolls almost all the way to the sideline before resetting his feet just before he gets out of bounds and throwing an excellent pass to Davante Adams for a touchdown. Stidham made this play with a defender in his face, barreling towards him, and takes a big hit here. This was an impressive off-script play where Stidham showed his playmaking ability. Now, from the end zone angle, we're once again going to see Stidham have no easy, clean throw here when he gets to the sideline. Instead, Stidham is going to throw with excellent timing and anticipation and lead Davante Adams up the field. This was a really great play by Stidham, and again, the chemistry on this play shown by Stidham and Adams in their first game together was about as good as you could have asked for. I didn't believe that Stidham possessed this level of playmaking ability, but this was a really nice play. On to the next play. On the bottom of the screen, Davante Adams is going to attempt to free up Josh Jacobs on a wheel route, but the 49ers communicate well and have this covered up. Up top, however, there's going to be a bit of a natural pick taking place. The outside receiver is going to run an inside release, go route, or post route. And from the slot, Darren Waller is actually going to run an outside fade route. Waller's going to try to get right off that outside receiver's hip to create as much of a natural pick as possible. This inside release go or post route is going to occupy the defender and take the single high safety with him. This is going to leave all this area for Stidham to use to get the ball to Waller. Stidham does a really good job of understanding he has all this green grass to work with, and he puts this ball up in the air, allowing his big tight end to go work the sideline and track it over his head. I really appreciate the fact that he had that spatial awareness to understand this ball did not have to be on a line. It was safe to put it out there, up and away towards the sideline to make your big tight end go up and get it. The next play is the most impressive I think I've seen from Stidham on the day. This is going to be a simple dagger concept. What this means is the outside receiver is going to be running a deep in and the inside receiver is going to be running a go route. The objective here is to get the safety to run with the go route, opening up the middle of the field to hit the deep in route right behind it. We also have a flat being ran by the tight end here. It's easier to see from the end zone camera angle, but I want you to see how Jarrett Stidham uses his eyes to manipulate this linebacker and open up the middle of the field. He's going to stare down the tight end in the flat, and at the last minute he's going to pivot before taking this really big hit and throw the ball to the deep end. This was a really high-level IQ play by Stidham, and I like the fact that he was able to make this play even with the defender barreling down on his location. And I think that you're going to appreciate this more from the other angle, but this was a big-time play from Stidham. On the last play, Stidham more so used his eyes to open a throwing window. But on this next play, Stidham actually shows even better manipulation of defenders, as he's actually going to use his eyes to move a defender to make a covered receiver actually become uncovered and wide open over the middle. Stidham is going to get the ball at the snap and look at this in-breaking route. His vision immediately snaps here, and when the linebacker reacts and blows right past Foster Moreau, Stidham's going to quick reset and get himself aligned nicely to the middle of the field and get the ball to Foster Moreau for a first down. The end zone angle shows better how Stidham used his eyes to take advantage of this linebacker and get him out of position. The next play I want to show you is the final play of the Raiders offense on the field, as it's Jarrett Stidham's game-losing interception here. On this play, Adams is going to be running an inside release go route. Against a single high look, it's a tough ask, but it's not impossible to make this play. What makes this hard for me to rationalize is that the single high safety is actually shaded in Adams' direction on his side of the field's hash mark. Stidham is going to get the ball and look immediately in Adams' direction. The safety starts working his way in that direction, and as you can see, Stidham's left tackle was basically just walked right into his lap. Stidham goes to throw the ball to Adams and simultaneously gets knocked onto his back by the left tackle. He's unable to follow through or get his hips involved in any way, shape, or form. He's going to launch this using all arms while falling back, and it's going to be intercepted to seal the game. As I mentioned, I didn't love the decision from the get-go, but the surrounding circumstances of the left tackle being shoved into his lap sure didn't help. It's hard for anyone to be successful when your offensive line is just being whooped like this. In the end, did Stidham put some good stuff on tape? Yes. Am I ready to say the Raiders have their next quarterback? No. I think what Stidham was able to do in 1 week of reps with the starters was impressive. However, I would need to see more than what I've just seen this week to justify moving forward with Stidham after Derek Carr. I do think Stidham will be a valuable backup quarterback for someone next year, but I'm not there yet with him as a starter. And with only one more game remaining on the schedule, I'm not really sure that there's enough he can do in one game to convince the Raiders that he's their guy moving forward. But like I said, he's got one more chance to impress as a starter tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs and a little bit of Saturday Night Football action. But that's all for this video. I hope you liked it. Comment your thoughts on Stidham and at the Raiders quarterback situation as a whole. I'd love to hear your opinion, but until then, see you next time. Peace.